Here's a quick and easy lesson on trigonometry. The big thing you need to know about trigonometry is SOHCAHTOA. Say it loud and say it proud. SOHCAHTOA. If you can understand that and you can memorize that, then trigonometry should be fairly simple for you. What SOHCAHTOA stands for is there are three trigonomic functions. There are sine, cosine, and tangent. And you will see those on your calculator, and it's your scientific calculator. On the calculator on the computer, there they are right there, sine, cosine, and tan. Alright? Now, the way the SOHCAHTOA works is that it gives us a formula. It's an abbreviation or an acronym for a formula. So sine equals opposite over hypotenuse equals opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent equals opposite over adjacent. Now, you may be asking yourself, what the heck is an opposite and an adjacent? You may know what a hypotenuse is, so let's go over and let's label them again here. So if we have a triangle, in this case a right angle triangle, alright, our hypotenuse is always the long side of a triangle, right? So that's our hypotenuse. The opposite and adjacent can switch depending upon which angle we're looking at. If we're looking at this bottom angle down here, then the side that is directly opposite that angle becomes your opposite, and the angle or the side that is right beside the angle is your adjacent. Now, if I had the same triangle, there's my hypotenuse, but this time I'm looking at the angle from this end, all of a sudden my bottom side becomes my opposite, and my left side becomes my adjacent. So depending upon the angle, where the angle is located, your opposite and adjacent will change. Your hypotenuse, however, is always the same. Okay, here we go. Let's solve it. Okay, we are given a triangle. Oops. We're given a triangle, and we need to use SOHCAHTOA to solve because we are given degrees of an angle, and we're given the length of one side. We want to solve for another side. Okay, so that's what trigonometry. That's where you use SOHCAHTOA for. You can use Pythagoras if you got two sides, you want to find a third. But if you only have one side and an angle, you have to use trigonometry. So first thing I do is I label my angle, which is 23 degrees, and I figure out what I have. I have an opposite and I have an adjacent. I look over to my formula, an opposite and adjacent, I'm going to use tangent. So my formula is going to be the tangent of 23 degrees equals the opposite, which is x, over the adjacent, which is 30. Now, tangent 30 is a number. In order for me to figure out that number, I have to use my calculator. So I go to my calculator and I go 30 tan, and it tells me that the tangent of 23 degrees equals 0.57, and that number goes on forever. So I usually just use the first 3-4 numbers. So 0.5773. So tangent 23 is 0.5773 equals x over 30. I need to solve strictly for x, so I got to get rid of a divided by 30. How I get rid of a divided by 30 is I multiply it by 30, and whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. The divided by and the multiply cancel each other out, leaving me with an x. And on this side, I have 30 times 0.5773, which works out to, take that number, multiply it by the 30, and I get 17.3. So I get 17.3 is x. 17.3. There you go. That's trigonometry. You can look at some other lessons for some other example questions. You always go to tricky.ca for the simple and easy work.